There are days that pass like any other. And then there are days when everything begins to shift, not because the world explodes, but because something invisible moves. June 26, 2025 will be one of those days. Most won't notice it with their eyes, but those who are awake even slightly will feel it, a weight in the air, a change in rhythm, a moment when the balance that has been building quietly for years begins to turn. This is not superstition. It is not a prophecy. It is observation. Cause and effect do not operate on human calendars, but they do accumulate. And when a tipping point arrives, the result is no longer delayed. June 26 marks such a moment, not because it is magical, but because enough has been stored up, ignored, denied. The scales of karma, of consequence, can only carry so much. What has been hidden beneath distraction and denial will begin to rise. You may have convinced yourself that certain actions don't matter, that words said in anger, choices made in fear, moments avoided out of laziness, that all of it somehow dissolves. But life does not forget, it remembers everything, and it stores what we refuse to face. That is what karma truly is, the echo of your past decisions waiting for the right moment to return. And on June 26, 2025, the echo will begin to speak. This turning is not external. You may not see it on the news, but inside you, it will begin. The frustration, the tension, the feeling that something is surfacing that is not random. It is your own past, your own imbalance, returning not to punish you, but to complete the cycle. The tables are turning, and this time the mirror cannot be avoided. If you build your foundation on truth, you will be steady. But if you've built on lies, the cracks will show. June 26 is not the end, but it is a door. After that day, things will no longer feel the same. The pressure will increase, not from the outside world, but from your own mind. You will begin to sense what needs to be addressed. The emotions you've suppressed will surface. The consequences you thought you escaped will return. But you still have a choice. You can resist and suffer, or you can meet it with awareness and grow. The date matters because humans need markers. Turning points, symbols that help us wake up. June 26, 2025 is one such marker. A reminder that silence does not mean safety, that delay does not mean escape. Every intention you've planted, every seed of truth or deception has been growing, and now the harvest is coming. That is not a metaphor. That is reality. The pain you avoided may now demand to be felt. The truth you ignored will begin to show itself in your thoughts, your relationships, your health, your peace. It is no longer about believing in karma. It is about seeing it. What goes around comes around, not because of divine punishment, but because this is how nature restores balance. What you give, you receive. If not today, then soon. June 26 is when many will begin to feel that receiving. And they will be unprepared because they thought they could outsmart what cannot be outsmarted. This is not about fear. It's about preparation. You are not helpless. If you've lived unconsciously, you can begin again. If you've acted in ego, you can act in awareness. But the time to delay has ended. The wave is coming, and you must be either standing in truth or swept away in illusion. There is no more middle. That's what the turning of the tables really means. Those who have played games with their mind, their time, their soul will see that the game ends now. From June 26 forward, you will be watched not by others, but by yourself. There will be no more pretending. If you are angry, it will rise. If you are empty, it will echo. If you are dishonest, it will break through. That's not to destroy you, that's to free you. But only if you let it. The pressure will feel like punishment to those who refuse to change. But to those who surrender, it will feel like peace. Do not wait until everything breaks. Do not wait until you're overwhelmed. Start now. Clean your space. Speak your truth. Sit with yourself in silence. Ask, what have I been running from? And more importantly, will I still be running on June 26? Because that's when the chase ends. That's when life catches up. That's when your past decisions knock on the door, not to harm you, but to be seen. And if you're willing to see them, really see them, then this day will not destroy you. It will awaken you. It will realign you. It will return your life to a place of meaning, depth, and clarity. June 26, 2025 is not a warning. It is an invitation. One final opportunity to return to the truth before the truth returns to you. People are not destroyed by reality. They are destroyed by illusion. By the walls they build around themselves to feel safe. By the lies they repeat so often, they start to sound like truth. But no illusion can last forever. There comes a moment when it breaks, not with violence, not with noise, but with undeniable clarity. June 26, 2025 is such a moment. The illusion will no longer be enough. And for many, this day will feel like being pulled out of a dream they didn't know they were trapped in. The world has become expert at hiding truth behind distraction. Most people are not living. They are running from silence, from emptiness, from the discomfort of looking inward. They fill their days with noise, scroll, click, escape, repeat. But all of it is a delay. All of it is a cover. And when that cover begins to lift, what remains is not entertainment. What remains is the truth they have avoided. For June 26 is not special because of some cosmic accident. It is special because the pressure has reached a peak. The illusion is stretched thin. And just like a mirror that has cracked too many times, it will finally shatter. What you have believed about yourself, about others, about the world, it will be questioned. That questioning will not come from someone else. It will come from inside you. A quiet doubt, a sudden pause, a voice that says, none of this feels real anymore. That voice is the beginning of freedom. But it can feel like chaos when you've lived too long in illusion. People think the greatest danger is suffering, but the real danger is comfort built on lies. Because comfort makes you stop growing. It tells you everything is fine, even when your heart is screaming for change. It keeps you in places you've outgrown. It convinces you to stay silent when your soul wants to speak. It numbs you until you forget what real peace feels like. And when that illusion breaks, the numbness fades. What's left is raw, real, unavoidable. June 26, 2025 will mark the start of that unveiling. For many, it will come as confusion. A sudden lack of meaning in things that once felt important. Relationships may start to feel hollow. Success might feel empty. The routine you once depended on may begin to feel like a cage. Do not panic. This is not a breakdown. This is a breakthrough. The truth is finally pushing its way to the surface. You can resist it or you can receive it. The illusions you've built were never meant to last forever. They served a purpose: to protect, to distract, to help you survive. But survival is not the same as living. There comes a time when truth must take the lead. Not the truth others give you, but the one you've buried inside. June 26 is when that buried truth knocks on the door. You can ignore it, but it won't leave. And each time you try to turn away, the discomfort will grow. This discomfort is a signal, not that something is wrong, but that something false is falling away. It's not the world collapsing, it's the illusion collapsing. And if you've built your identity on that illusion, then yes, it will feel like collapse. But it's not the end. It's the beginning of seeing clearly. It's the beginning of choosing not from fear, but from awareness. Be honest with yourself. How many things in your life are real, not useful, not comfortable, but real? How many conversations are based on truth, not performance? How much of your time is spent present, not distracted? How many choices are made from your own clarity, not other people's approval? The more your answers lean toward illusion, the more intense the coming shift will feel. But this is not something to fear. It's something to prepare for. If you begin now, if you start removing what is false from your life piece by piece, the transition will be lighter, less painful, more empowering. But if you wait until June 26, if you continue pretending, the pressure will arrive without warning, and it won't ask for permission to enter. It will simply arrive. And all that is false will begin to fall apart. This is the gift hidden within discomfort. It shows you where the illusion lives, where you've built your house on sand, and it offers you the chance to rebuild, this time on something solid. Truth does not shake. Awareness does not collapse. Illusion does. So if your world begins to shake, be grateful. You are being offered a chance to see clearly. When the illusion collapses, the only thing left is who you really are. Without titles, without validation, without performance. The question is, will you be ready to meet that version of yourself, or will you try to glue the illusion back together, hoping to sleep a little longer? June 26th, 2025 is not the day everything breaks. It's the day everything begins to become visible. And once it is visible, you must decide, live in truth or rebuild the lie. Only one of those paths leads to freedom. The other will take you back to the same prison. Only this time with thinner walls. Choose wisely. People try to avoid pain. It's natural. They want peace, ease, comfort. But what they often don't understand is that comfort isn't always a blessing. Sometimes it's a delay. Sometimes it's the soft prison that keeps you from waking up. June 26, 2025 is not arriving to hurt you. It's arriving to remove what no longer serves you. And the method it will use is discomfort. If you've been ignoring something deep inside, a truth, a decision, a responsibility, the discomfort you feel around that will begin to grow, and it will grow fast, not because something outside of you is attacking, but because the time for pretending has ended. Your silence has reached its limit. Your distractions are wearing thin. And on June 26, the pressure will begin to push through. You will feel it not just in your mind, but in your body, your relationships, your energy. This discomfort is not random. It is not a punishment. It is your own life trying to get your attention. You've buried emotions. You've postponed change. You've allowed fear to dictate what you say and what you hide. That kind of living can only go on for so long. The deeper you push it down, the louder it eventually comes back. June 26 is when many will start to hear what they've been trying to silence. Don't misunderstand the message. The pain is not the problem. The discomfort is not your enemy. It is your alarm clock, and it's ringing because time is up. If you do not listen to the whisper, life will send the storm. This is that storm, not of chaos, but of truth. A storm that breaks the illusion and exposes what's real. There is a false idea that spiritual growth feels good all the time, that awakening is gentle. But the truth is, most people only grow when life becomes uncomfortable, only when the pressure builds to people finally reflect, finally change, finally let go. This is why June 26 matters. It is a moment of concentrated pressure. A moment when your comfort zone begins to break open and what's inside will no longer be silent. You might feel restless, anxious, like something is off, but you can't quite name it. That is your life asking you to pay attention. The old version of you, the one that avoids, reacts, escapes, will begin to feel too small. And if you resist that growth, the discomfort will turn into confusion, frustration, emotional weight. Not because life is cruel, but because it's trying to get you to see clearly. Ask yourself, what are you holding on to that's already trying to leave? What patterns are you repeating that only bring more emptiness? What truths are you avoiding because they would require change? These questions are not easy, but they will not go away. In fact, starting June 26, they will grow louder. You will feel them in conversations, in moments of silence, in the way your body reacts to stress. And if you keep trying to run from them, the discomfort will only grow. This is your opportunity to stop avoiding, to stop pretending, to stop clinging to a life that no longer reflects who you are. The pressure you feel is life pulling you toward alignment, toward truth. But to get there, it must first show you where you're out of alignment. That is why it feels uncomfortable. You are being stretched beyond your old identity, not to break you, but to reshape you. Don't wait for it to become unbearable. Begin now. Sit with what's uncomfortable. Listen to what it's trying to teach you. Discomfort is clarity in disguise. It's the mind's way of telling you that something is no longer working. And the longer you ignore it, the louder it becomes. On June 26, that voice will be almost impossible to ignore. So don't try to silence it. Learn from it. There is no peace in pretending. There is no freedom in avoidance. True peace comes when you face the discomfort fully, when you accept that pain has something to teach you. The moment you stop seeing discomfort as an enemy, it becomes your guide. It shows you what's false. It points you back to truth. It brings you back to yourself. This turning point will feel different for everyone. For some, it will come through conflict. For others, through loss. And for many, through a deep internal restlessness that refuses to fade. However it arrives, know this: it is happening for you, not to you. The version of you that's trying to emerge cannot live in the same space as your old habits. The discomfort is just the space in between, the gap between who you were and who you must become. June 26, 2025 is a threshold. Cross it consciously. Let the discomfort speak. Let it show you where you've been asleep. Let it push you toward clarity, toward action, toward alignment. This is your moment. And though it may begin in pain, it leads to something far more powerful. A life that is real, grounded, and awake. There comes a time when holding on becomes heavier than letting go. For many people, that time will arrive on June 26, 2025. not because something outside forces it to happen, but because the weight of what they've been carrying will finally become too loud to ignore. You've been taught to hold on to identities, to opinions, to relationships, to outcomes, even to pain. But holding on is not strength. It's fear disguised as control. Letting go is not a sign of failure. It's clarity. When something is no longer aligned, no longer alive, no longer true, you release it. If you don't, life will do it for you. That's what June 26 represents. The moment when what you refuse to surrender begins to break apart, not to hurt you, but to free you. You might say you're ready for peace. You might claim you want transformation, but transformation doesn't happen through wishing, it happens through release. You cannot carry the past and walk freely into the future. You cannot cling to a version of yourself that's built on fear and expect to grow. You cannot hold on to what is ending and expect something new to begin. Life does not work that way. From the outside, nothing may look different on June 26, but inside, the shift will begin. The grip will begin to tremble. The things you've attached yourself to, a title, a person, a false sense of security, will start to slip. The illusion of control will begin to fade, and the resistance will show itself in your body, in your mood, in your sleep, in your thoughts. That tension is not random. That's life saying it's time to let go. Letting go doesn't mean walking away from everything. It means walking away from what no longer serves your evolution. The habits that drain you, the roles you play just to be accepted, the expectations you never chose but continue to carry, the inner voices that tell you you're not enough. These are the attachments that keep you stuck, and June 26 will bring them to the surface. When you let go, you create space for clarity, for healing, for truth. But most people are afraid of that space. They fear the emptiness, so they fill it with noise. They cling to people out of loneliness, to patterns out of familiarity, to pain out of identity. They say, "Oh, I don't know who I'd be without this." And that's exactly why they stay the same. But staying the same is not safety. It's slow destruction. It's spiritual suffocation. If you felt tired, not physically, but soul tired, it's because you're carrying too much. Stories that aren't true anymore, responsibilities that aren't yours, emotions that belong to the past. And if you keep carrying them, life will stop asking nicely. It's already started. You felt the signs, misalignment in your work, friction in your relationships, a restlessness you can't explain. That is not coincidence, that's buildup. And June 26, 2025 will mark the point where buildup becomes release. It might feel like things are falling apart, but in reality, they are falling into place, a place you've been avoiding because it requires you to let go of what you thought you needed. Not everyone will be ready. Some will try to hold on tighter. They'll call it loyalty or love or ambition. But deep down, they'll know it's fear. The fear of becoming no one. The fear of stepping into the unknown. But the unknown is not your enemy. It's the only space where transformation is possible. There is no need to panic, no need to force anything, but there is a need to be honest. What are you clinging to that's already expired? What are you protecting that no longer brings peace? What masks are you still wearing? These questions matter now, not later, because June 26 doesn't ask for your permission. It simply arrives. And if you're still gripping what's meant to be gone, the release will feel like loss instead of liberation. But it can be different. If you begin letting go now, slowly, intentionally, clearly, then the shift will feel like relief. The weight will fall, and in its place, you'll find space to breathe. You'll begin to see what you couldn't see before because your hands were full. You'll begin to hear your inner voice again, not the voice of fear or control, but the one that remembers who you really are. This is not just another day on the calendar. It's a threshold. June 26, 2025. Is the moment when the old life says its final words, and you must decide whether to listen or release, whether to repeat or rise, whether to break or breathe. There is power in surrender. Real strength is not in holding everything together. It's in knowing what to let fall. And when you let go of what is not yours to carry, you'll realize the truth. You were never meant to suffer. You were only meant to wake up. Here is as key point Fev has expanded into a 100 words in the same grounded, straight, talking, deeply reflective style. With S June 26, 2025 is positioned as the moment where inner strength becomes your only anchor. When the outer world begins to shake, people look for something to hold on to. Some reach for money, others reach for relationships, for control, for distractions. But none of those things can save you from yourself. They can entertain you. They can delay the breakdown. But when everything external becomes uncertain, and it will, there is only one thing that can carry you through: your own inner strength. And on June 26, 2025 data, that truth will become impossible to ignore. This is not a prediction. This is a reality that has been building quietly. You felt it already. The world feels louder, faster, more unstable. People are more reactive, more fragile, more easily broken by the smallest pressure. And the reason is simple. They've placed all their security in things that change, in opinions, in reputation, in performance, in temporary validation. And when those things collapse, they collapse too. As June 26 started as and marks a shift, not just in energy, but in perception. So the illusion of external safety will begin to crumble. The people you rely on may disappoint you. The systems you depend on may fail you. The roles you play may stop working. And in that moment, your only protection will be what you've built within: your discipline, your clarity, your ability to remain still in the chaos. If you've spent the last few years ignoring your inner world, if you've outsourced your peace to noise and comfort, this shift will feel overwhelming. You'll be searching for something stable to hold on to, and nothing outside will be enough. But if you've been honest with yourself, if you've trained your mind, stayed grounded, faced your emotions, and practiced awareness, you will meet the change with strength instead of fear. Strength is not loud. It's not in appearances. It's not about controlling people or outcomes. Real strength is invisible until it's tested. It's in how you breathe when everything is uncertain, how you speak when emotions rise, how you act when no one is watching. It's built in the quiet, in the small moments of choosing presence over escape. And if you haven't been building that strength, XX June 26 events will expose it. This is not a threat, it's a reminder. You cannot fake alignment when the pressure comes. You cannot perform stillness. You either have it or you don't. And on that day, the difference will be clear. Some will fall apart, not because life is punishing them, but because they never prepared for anything deeper than survival. Others will stand firm, not because they have more resources, but because they have more awareness. Don't wait for the world to break to realize what truly matters. Build your strength now, not through arrogance or false confidence, but through humility, through consistency, through the quiet work no one sees. Wake up earlier, sit in silence, face what you've been avoiding. Discipline is not about restriction, it's about freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from emotional slavery, freedom from the need to escape yourself. The stronger your inner foundation, the less you need from the outside. And the less you need, the freer you are. This is why so many people feel trapped. Their peace is always conditional. It depends on the behavior of others, on praise, on the perfect conditions. But that kind of peace is fragile. It breaks under pressure. As June 26 is the pressure. And your reaction will reveal what kind of peace you truly have. This is not something you can buy. You can't borrow someone else's strength. You have to build it day by day, breath by breath, decision by decision. It doesn't require perfection. It requires presence, the willingness to show up and train your mind not to avoid discomfort, but to master it, to stop running from what hurts and start listening to it. Everything you've done up to this point will meet you on that day, and not in some dramatic scene, but in the subtle choices. Will you panic or breathe? Will you react or observe? Will you collapse or rise? These choices are already being rehearsed every day. Your current habits are preparing you for the pressure ahead. And if you're not choosing discipline now, don't expect it to suddenly appear when you need it most. Except June 26th, 2025 is not just a date. It is a mirror. It will reflect what you've built. And if you've been nothing, it will show you the emptiness. But that doesn't have to be a defeat. It can be the beginning, a wake-up call, a moment to return to what's real. The world won't save you. Your image won't save you. Only your own inner stability can hold you steady when the tables turn. This is not meant to scare you. It's meant to free you. Because once you realize that nothing outside of you can give you what you're missing inside, you stop wasting energy, you stop chasing, and you start building. And from that place, no shift, no date, no loss, no change can destroy you. Let a yes, June 26 yes be a marker, not of fear, but of focus, not of breakdown, but of awakening. Prepare now, not by doing more, but by becoming more grounded, silent, strong. Let the world shake. You will not. No one escapes their own reflection. You can avoid mirrors, avoid silence, avoid stillness, but eventually life will hold one up in front of you. And when that moment comes, there will be nowhere left to run. June 26, 2025 is that mirror. For many, it will feel like being exposed, not to the world, but to themselves. The version of you you've been hiding from will stand face to face with the version you pretend to be. And the gap will be impossible to ignore. You are about to be shown your reflection, not your image, not your role, not the version of you you built to survive or be liked, but the real one, the one behind the performance, the one behind the masks, not to shame you, not to judge you, but to wake you up, because the time for pretending is over. You cannot build a life of peace on a foundation of self-deception. June 26 is the moment when your patterns speak louder than your promises. Your habits reveal what you truly value. Your energy shows what you've really been feeding. If you've been living out of alignment, saying one thing, doing another, the tension will become too strong to ignore. You'll feel it in your sleep, in your conversations, in your mood, in your body. Life doesn't punish you. It reveals you. You've been given time to correct course. Time to listen, time to heal, but time is not infinite. There is a point where delay becomes destruction, where silence becomes suppression, where avoidance becomes self-betrayal. And that point begins now. June 26, 2025 will show you what you've refused to see, the truth of your life, without filters, without excuses, without distractions. It might come quietly. A conversation that shakes something in you, a moment of stillness that reveals how lost you become, a flash of clarity that cuts through years of confusion. Or it might come as a break, an ending, a collapse. However it shows up, you'll know it, not because someone tells you, but because you'll feel it in your core. Something is being revealed and it cannot be hidden anymore. This is the part most people fear, being exposed, not to the world, but to themselves. They don't want to see the ways they've been dishonest, the ways they've settled, the places they've compromised their soul for comfort or attention. But this is the exact moment where real change begins. Because until you face the truth of who you've become, you cannot step into who you're meant to be. The truth will not scream. It doesn't need to. It will arrive in the small moments, the way your chest tightens when you lie, the way your energy drops when you betray your values, the way you feel after spending time with people who drain you. These are the signals, and they're becoming louder. Feed June 26 is not the beginning of your suffering. It's the end of your denial. Let yourself be seen, not by others, but by yourself. Sit still. Watch your thoughts. Observe your reactions. Look at the story you've been telling about who you are. Is it true, or is it just safe? Is it familiar, or is it real? You don't need more opinions. You don't need more information. You need honesty. Brutal, liberating, life-changing honesty. If you've built your life on external validation, on being liked, praised, approved, that structure will start to shake. Not because people change, but because you do. You begin to feel the disconnect. You begin to see that no amount of praise can fix the pain of living out of alignment. That's the shift June 26 brings, the courage to stop running and the strength to finally see. This moment will not be easy, but it will be necessary. You'll be shown the truth about your patterns, your relationships, your attachments, your fears, and the truth will demand a response. You can reject it and stay the same, or you can accept it and begin again. That's your choice. But make no mistake, the mirror will be held up, whether you're ready or not. And when it is, don't look away. You've come too far to keep hiding. You've outgrown the lies, the roles, the masks. You're not here to perform. You're here to live, to align, to become what you were always capable of becoming. But that journey begins with truth. And truth begins with looking in the mirror and not flinching. June 26th, 2025 is the date the mirror clears, the dust falls off, the reflection stares back. And you must decide who you are. Not the version others expect, not the version that fits in, but the one that knows peace even when alone. The one that knows clarity even in silence. The one that doesn't need applause to stand tall. You are not being punished. You are being purified. The fire is not here to burn you down. It's here to burn away what's false, so that what remains is strong, real, aligned, ready. Let the mirror show you. And this time, don't look away.